What's going on, everybody? I'd like to welcome y'all back to Sync Music Mondays. That's right, Sync Music Mondays every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are music licensing in the coolest form. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to all the listeners on a worldwide basis. Shout out to all the listeners in Australia. Big shout out to y'all. Definitely running up the charts, man. So we appreciate that. And as always, we're going to tap into the word of the day, something motivational, inspirational to help y'all get into y'all day. All right, and we're gonna get into it right now. The word of the day goes something like this: you survive too many storms to be bothered by raindrops. I like that. I'll say that again: you survive too many storms to be bothered by raindrops. I think that word of the day is pretty dope. You know, at the end of the day, pretty basic at face value. When you kind of look at your life, you assess where you've been, where you going. In terms of that, it's kind of a wake-up call, right? Because even though you're going through problems, at least you're still going through, like they used to say back in the days, right? Like, you got issues, you got obstacles, but the reality is that all those other past issues and obstacles that you thought were so crazy, they were so astronomical, they were so stressful, you got so tired, you overcame it, right? So that's important to realize. It's like, you know, you've already been through a lot, so don't let your current situation hold you back or deter you from greatness, right? Because we all got greatness in us. It's just a matter of overcoming those obstacles, right? So, you know, that's real talk, and that is the word of the day. All right. But for today, we got a lot of emails from y'all, man. I put out that last video where I shouted y'all out. I appreciated y'all for bringing up different topics, different issues that we could talk about. So y'all definitely been flooding the inbox. You know, we got a lot of requests, right? So the request that we got, all right, is from David from Cali, and he said, "Yo, I'd like y'all to talk about the Andre 3000 Flute album, and what are your thoughts about the Flute album?" All right, so shout out to him. It's a good topic. Good topic. We dig it. All right. So in terms of the Flute project from Andre 3000, what are my thoughts? Well, I'll preface this by saying this, right? I'll start off by saying this. A lot of times, culturally, we live in a culture where you can't have an opinion without being labeled a hater, right? So if your opinion is not that of popular culture, then they say, "Ah, man, you just hating, man, you just hating." So I'll start off by saying that everybody's entitled to have their own opinion. What some people like, some people don't like, and that's perfectly fine, right? For me personally, I was disappointed. Okay, and this is not coming from a place of disrespect or malice, anything like that, because if anything, it's the total opposite for me. I love Andre 3000. To me, he's one of my favorite rappers. I think he's definitely one of the greatest rappers of all time. His skill set is phenomenal. His wordplay, his intonation, his connotation, his ability to tell stories. The guy's a savage, man. Like, lyrically, he's a savage. He is a beast. Right? I mean, he's a beast. He is a beast, man. So he's a talented guy. I've always loved his music. And I think for a very long time, people have been waiting patiently to hear more from Andre 3000, because given the history of Outkast, how much great music they've put out, how much they've given to the culture, you know, there's always that guy who like stands out, you know. So shout out to Big Boy. I mean, super talented as well. But you know, with Andre 3000, people always wanted to hear more from him, like a project. It's kind of like the equivalent of Jada with the Locks, right? Like, the Locks are amazing, but people always wanted to see what they could do individually. They always wanted to see what Jada could do, and they all delivered. You know, Jada delivered. So I think that was the point of contention, at least for me, where it was like, all right, we've waited so long, and, you know, to hear finally, oh, there's going to be an Andre 3000 album, and then it's like, but it's a Flute album. It's like, what? Like what? It's like just like a bad joke. I'm waiting for like the Ashton Kutcher to come out tell us we're being punked, right? It's like, yo, this are we serious right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel that anybody should be forced to do something they don't want to do, right? So like that's me, right? If I don't feel like doing an album, I'm not gonna do it. I do it because I love to do it, and I'm at a point in my career where I don't have to do music. I just do it when I feel it and I love to do it. Because at this point, I got over 1,000 songs, right? And so many albums, so many singles I put out throughout the years. I've been doing music my whole life. So for me, when I feel it, I do it, right? So I get that part, but there's a big disappointment there, right? It's like if I had to liken it to something, it's like waiting all year, for Thanksgiving, for years for your grandma to make that favorite dish that you love, you know what I'm saying? Regardless, right? And then she pop out and say, well, we gonna fast this Thanksgiving. We ain't gonna eat this Thanksgiving, baby. We just gonna fast and hold hands. It's like, what? You know what I'm saying? Like that was the equivalent of hearing, he was gonna put out a Flute album, like it was just disappointing. And I heard what he said. He had said that he felt that because he's older now, so he's a grown man now, he felt that at this particular juncture in his life, what is he going to rap about as an old man? That's what he said, like as an older man. And respectfully, I disagree with that. So maybe for him personally, he might feel like, all right, he doesn't have anything to talk about. Then so be it for him. But I think just because you're older doesn't mean that you don't have anything to talk about. Right? Like some of my favorite rappers are making some of the best music, and they don't even skip a beat in their older years, whether that be Jay-Z, Nas dropping project after project with Hit Boy, Buster, like, and when you hear these guys, they're in the pocket, they're sharp, they're on point, there's no drop off, they rapping better than some of these young boys. A lot of these young boys dropping projects sounding crazy. Right? So just because you're older doesn't mean that you have to check out musically. Because that's kind of a cop-out, to be perfectly honest with you. Now, maybe for him, like I said, maybe he has nothing to rap about, and that's perfectly fine. But don't use age as your rationale, because that just doesn't make sense, given what other artists are able to do. Like, I think 444 was a phenomenal project from Jay-Z. And I love, that was one of my favorite Jay-Z projects, to hear him rap the way he was rapping from the standpoint of being an older black man, and life experiences and how he's experiencing life now and how that looks for him in terms of generational wealth, in terms of how he views things, right? Like that's important, and we need that. We need all those facets. I think a lot of times, especially in hip hop, we complain about ageism, right? And you hear a lot of people say, damn, hip hop is a young man's sport, or it's a young woman's sport. But a lot of times we do it to ourselves with like statements that Andre 3000 made, right? It's like, oh, I'm older, right? So we complain how, a lot of these old white rock groups, Metallica and all these guys or whoever, they could still be out there making music and performing. But then like we say with hip hop, they want to see the younger people. But I mean, if our older heroes take this mentality where, oh, I'm older, what am I doing? Then we kind of shooting ourselves in the foot, aren't we? Right? Like we on one side, we can't complain about ageism in hip hop and ageism in R&B, but it's yet this is the mentality that we carry forward, right? It's kind of whack. So, I summarize all that to say that yes, I was disappointed. I'm not afraid to keep it a stack about that. I think sometimes culturally, people they groupies, right? So don't nobody want to speak their mind and keep it real, People be dragging it. It's like, nah, if you don't like something, respectfully, you don't like it. And that's fine. We all adults, we all grown, we all mature, right? So, shout out to Andre 3000. Wish him the best, man. And, it is what it is, man. So, sound off in the comments. Let me know y'all thoughts. Did y'all like the Flute album? Did y'all not like it? If you liked it, why did you like it? If you didn't like it, let me know that too, man. All right. So until next week.